So I've come over today. It is the day. It is the day that I'm going to plant out everything. The runner beans are going out, the remaining brassicas, the onions, maybe some leeks. We'll have a look how they are as well. But the tunnel is just rammed. So I mean, before we start, look at all the strawberries now. I mean, there is honestly masses. I've been eating quite a few of them. I've noticed that the birds, I think, are coming in as well, and yeah, they're having a nibble. But look. As you can see, it is a terrific year of plants that need to go out, but they are just absolutely perfect. And that is why we do it, you know, just getting those nice harvests, the nice fruit. So you just cannot beat it, a nice warm strawberry in the polytunnel, perfect. And on this side, yes, we've got sunflowers, beans, oh my God, chilies, peppers, brassicas, onions, celery, you name it, it's here. And up above, all the runner beans now are actually touching the polytunnel roof, so they need to go out. They're a good 2 foot high now. These are the pole star, the firestorm, and I think over here, yeah, we've got some more blauhilders as well. And God, around the back here, we've got some more monge too, some pumpkins. The corn is ready to go out as well, and sunflowers all around the back. So it's definitely time now, you know, it's middle of May. There's no more frost forecast. I've weeded through this bed, so this now is kind of ready. This one isn't. I need to take this off. I put it down just to keep the soil from underneath drying out too much. It was quite hard then to dig. I'm going to take this up, and there's bindweed issue in here, a little bit in here. This is then the next project. I'm so excited to do this. I'm decided I am going to knock all this down, take back this area, and then, yeah, that's the next project. So yeah, we're getting there slowly now. Beans definitely going out today. That's a real milestone for me on the allotment. And they won't be long, they'll be romping straight up these canes. There is 52 canes on these 2 trellises. So yeah, so I've got to get 52 runner beans out, and then I'll sow some more as well, just in case a few get knocked back or something happens. I like to have an extra tray or 2, and then later on the season, if I don't need them, I either give them away, or I find a teepee, or I make a teepee somewhere around the plot, and we get a harvest then later on in summer. The tulips now, they're all pretty much done in this bed. There's a couple hanging on here, which I'm going to deadhead now, and then I'll leave the foliage in, leave all the greenery in here, and then they'll die down in summer. But I'm going to plant this up with some zinnias in here, and more zinnias in here. The Brussels sprouts are all doing really well, and the swede, none have died back. They're all looking fantastic in here. Yeah, the garlic, and also the zabroon shallots that I grew from seed, they are now starting to really bulk up in this bed in between all the elephant garlic. And in here, my normal garlic, I think there's 4 varieties in, and also the overwinter onions. I planted a few more onions out in there, but you can see a few of them are going to seed as well. So this is definitely the last time I'm doing overwintering onions. I've decided I'd rather the bed empty and used for something else. The pixie cabbage, well, they're just perfect, absolutely perfect. The savoys, they're doing okay. These are the Virtus savoys. We've got 2, 4, 6, 8 in here. The one at the back is just not taken. I don't know why. All the others are looking great. They're all starting to heart up, but this one at the back, it's done nothing. So I'm probably just going to take that out because it's kind of wasting space, and I might put something else there. In this bed, this is the white sonsima. They're now starting to heart up. They're a beautiful cabbage once they're done, and yeah, white sonsima cabbage. The broad beans in here, they're all netted from the pigeons, but I'm worried now about leaving them under these, so I might take the net off. I think they'll be fine in here, and I might have to put a couple more strings around. The asparagus bed, well, it's full here now of nasturtiums and some weeds, so I need to give that a good weed through. I'm going to leave the nasturtiums. I did it last year as well, and it kind of kept this bed nice and moist through the summer. The shallots are looking fab, so are the calibos, but look at this. Look at the lupins this year. So these are a white variety. We've got a pink here, we've got yellows and blues. I mean, how beautiful is that? So one thing I am actually really disappointed about this year was my giant alliums. I mean, we bought them from Malvern. Linda had some, I had some, Tony had some, we all had some, and they're not giant. They were marketed as these huge spheres, and don't get me wrong, they're gorgeous and the bees love them, but they're a little bit bigger than a tennis ball, I'd say, but they're definitely not giant. In this bed, a little bit of disappointment, so I put all the little gem lettuces in here, and for some reason they've all just gone to the ground. And I was worried first of all maybe there was like a vine weevil in there that was eating all the roots, and they've all seemed to go down because there's this side and this side, but some are okay, but not all of them. But we've had some success. Do you remember a couple of weeks ago I sowed some Gladiator F1 parsnips and I put the boards down, and then I showed you how I just watered them once and then left them. I'd removed the boards after 2 weeks, and this is what I found. A fantastic germination on both sides. They will need to be thinned out, but we've got success on the parsnips this year. And also in the carrot bin as well. We have had a little bit of disturbance here. Something's digging anyway. But we've got a couple of carrots in here. Did I want more in there? Yes, but I'm happy with this. I did re-sow some of the carrots, so they're coming up through. So yeah, we shall see. So one of the things I do want to focus on for next year is to make sure I have a dedicated carrot bin area and also a dedicated parsnip area as well. So it probably will be on the new plot. I'm going to do a nice big raised bed there for the carrots and the parsnips, so that I know where they are. They've got their own designated place as well, with some sand mixed in and all sieved compost. So that's on the list for autumn and winter, ready for spring. Right, let's get those plants out and then we can put the tomatoes in. Whew. So I've been pouring some of the veg in and it's looking fantastic now. So plenty more to come out, but while I was doing that, I noticed that there was a few butterflies dotting around the brassica area. So I went over to investigate and I noticed that there was 2 cabbage butterfly whites laying eggs on some of the cabbages, especially in that pixie cabbage bed. So I've noticed the net had come off a little bit, so I went over and had a look. Let me come over and show you what I found. So as you can see, the net's off a little bit, and it's just because the cabbages, again, too big now and they're pushing that net. So I might need to put a bigger net on this now. But underneath these leaves, if you can see, there is some eggs. Now these are actually from butterflies, and what they do is they lay them all in clusters. And yes, if you leave those, they will then turn into caterpillars and then they will devour all your cabbages. Let me check the other ones now just to see whether or not there's any more, and yes, have a look. So yes, there's some more here. These are more of like a greeny egg, so maybe they're like green caterpillars, I'm not sure. It's a different variety, you can tell by the colour. So I'll just disregard those now as well, and then I'll net this up, because the last thing you want is those caterpillars destroying your cabbages. So I've made some nice trellises out of some bamboo with some clips. I'll show you them in a second. And I thought now, using the Prenabo secateurs, I thought I'd trim it up. So instead of using like string or cable ties, some genius has come up with these simple clips. I mean, you can use them year after year after year, so no more cable ties. You can use them to make bean trellises or walls as well. These can be then used for like sunflowers, pumpkins, squashes, climbing flowers, you name it. And the easiest thing to do is that you basically just have your clip. Say this is your pole, you thread it through, and then this one goes on top of it like this. And all you do is bend these over. It looks more complicated than it is. And look, it's there, and it's now strong, it's secure, and yeah, I mean, you can use them on an angle as well for like your runner beans, or like I said, a trellis system like this. So if you can see, it's holding it on. I mean, it's strong and sturdy, and like I said, you can use these over and over again. I'm probably going to order some more. I mean, they're not expensive, and I probably will next year use them for the runner beans to save me using all those cable ties. So the plan now is to leave the foliage for the tulips, let that die down now to put the goodness into the bulbs. I've done most of the runner beans. I haven't done this side here because this one is a bit too much saturated with water, and I don't want to push them out of the modules and yeah, destroy the root system. So they're staying there for a day, and then I'll continue doing the rest of them. I am going to join these two together like so, and then this will become some kind of doorway, and then I'm going to use it to have like climbing things all over it, so there'll be a nice little wall here then. And then in here I'm going to put all the zinnias and some flowers, and maybe some sunflowers at the front as well. Now this plot, north is there, east is there, south is over there, and west is here. Now if anyone knows about sunflowers, sunflowers always face to the east, so I thought that polytunnel is facing east. So I've planted two sunflowers, two giant Russian sunflowers, one this side, one that side, and then I mean, imagine that at the front of the polytunnel in summer with these huge sunflowers at the front. So I've planted out now 4 sunflowers on each of these trellises: Velvet Queen, Italian White, Red Sun and Ruby Eclipse, all different colours. And I mean, I've actually used the same labels that I used on my potato buckets just to hang over here. They'll stop them from moving. I'll pop a link to these in the description. I bought them myself, but they're handy to hang over like bamboo canes or on potato buckets, just so you've got a nice label that, you know, stays still. So now I'll know which sunflower they are. And I've also done the same on the bean canes. I put Firestorm here, Zara's going here, and on this one here is Pole Star, so I've popped it up here. So later on in the season, when I want to collect the beans, I'll know which varieties are which. So it's been a couple of days now. I actually stopped filming because I noticed the weather was changing and time was running out. So I plodded on because we've had some rain, hallelujah, and we've also had a bit of a windstorm as well. So the tunnel's all been closed up. I've come over now to open it back up. I'll show you what progress I've done so far, and yeah, I'll catch you up. So most of it is out now. There's a little bit here. I mean, most of these now are a little bit bedraggled and they're kind of like the spares. But even though these kalibos cabbages have been left in the polytunnel protected, yeah, I just didn't account for the fact that, yes, there has been some butterflies coming in and out of here and they have laid some eggs and I've been taking off some caterpillars. These are actually spares because I had some extra seedlings and I didn't want to use them up, but the other kalibos are out. But I want to kind of keep them. I'm going to pop them on just in case and I'm sure they'll come back. But yeah, a few of the leaves have been damaged. So yeah, if you've got your brassicas in the tunnel, think about that as well. And speaking of kalibos, they're all in now. This final bed in this area has been planted up. There's 12 kalibos in there and I've put 3 purple sprouting broccolis in the middle because they will actually overwinter ready for spring. So planting them out now. The swede have just come on leaps and bounds. I did give it a good feed, so have the sprouts, but I've noticed we've got a little bit of nibbling coming here and some here. So there is some slugs. I've had a little mooch around. Can't seem to find them. I thought they might be hiding under here, but they wasn't. So I'm going to lift the beds up, I think, on this corner and have a look if there's any slugs, because they're just going and nibbling some of those leaves, but they should be okay. The garlic now is starting to take shape. We've got some scapes on, some here, which is fine. I think this might be a spare elephant garlic because the other elephant garlic has got scapes on over here as well. So I'm not too concerned about that. These are all looking okay. The rain has obviously brought the weeds back, but I've noticed the remaining overwintering onions are starting to bulb up. These ones are the Stuttgarten Giants, and I've noticed that there's not many that have gone to seed of these. So, you know, if you are looking at an overwintering onion, maybe try this variety because the reliability of these seem to be a bit higher than the rest of them. I mean, in this part here, I had Red Baron. There is none Red Baron left. Yeah, there's quite a few left. I had in here Electric Red. We've got one Electric Red. And the Radar. Now, I must admit, Radar's been okay as well. Out of the 8 I put in, we've got 7. So that's not so bad. But that's always the same. The Reds overwintering are always a poor show. But these ones are doing okay. I'm sure I'll get some kind of harvest, but out of the whole bed, I've probably only got about 30%. And also, I realised I didn't actually address what's happened on the back of the plot. So I had a bit of a revamp and yeah, I built a new bed, which you've seen me put in the celeriac and the celery in. But yeah, it's looking a little bit different on this corner. So yes, the celery, as you can see, got already in a couple of days. The celeriac and the celery now have doubled in size. I've also put in some Lilia spring onions and some cosmos and some sunflowers. And look at the potatoes. I mean, the rain really does make a difference. They're all down here now. I've put them on like a pallet system. I'm going to integrate the watering system, which I hope to do today. This back end here, I can see that there is the rhubarb in there, which I didn't plant. That must have been from a previous plot holder. This area here is going to be a bit of a winter project, I think. I'm going to actually put in a nice big deep raised bed all the way down the back of there, and that will be for all the spring bulbs and the summer flowers, so that I've got one designated area. They get a lot of sun, it'll be sheltered, and this area here then next to this project, which I'm fed up of talking about now, but it's going to get done. But then when this is all sorted, I'll have all a pile of flowers next to it, so that's the plan. I've also planted out the corn. Now this rain has actually boosted it a bit. I've been watering it, and also these are the French beans. So they're coming off the canes, so you have to watch because they will keep popping off and you just got to keep battling them to stay on canes, but they eventually take and twist around. Now for this trellis, I actually used the clipping system to see how it would work, and I must admit I'm actually so impressed with these. I've actually managed to put the canes on. There's no cable ties holding this up at all, and we'll see how we get on through summer, but these are an absolute game changer. I've taken the net off this area now because I felt like the broad beans were getting a bit suffocated by it. Let's pop that back in there a second because the wind has been taking this. So we've had a bit of wind through the area. This is supposed to be the beetroot area, but the pumpkins that I mentioned, I think these are baby boo. There's quite a few in there now. I've been tempted to take a few out, and the weird thing is they're actually better than the ones that I've got in pots. So they're doing okay in there, but I think eventually if I do keep them in, I'm going to make sure that I guide them over to the asparagus area and they can use underneath the asparagus, but we shall see. I also need to put in the supports for the asparagus because one or two of the fronds are actually getting damaged by the wind now, but these all need to be supported so that they can bush up for summer and then they actually die back down, putting strength into the crowns for next year's harvest. And Lee, my plot neighbour, he's had a bit of a upgrade on the plot. So he's taken the inspiration off my beds and created these. He's borrowed some hoops because he's got some brassicas coming in. I've taken the hoops off the alliums now, so he's going to borrow them for a few weeks until he can get his own. But yeah, everything's looking great. He's covered this over because we've actually got a rogue rabbit on site. Now, we've never had problems with rabbits before, but I seen one looking through the polytunnel the other day and I rubbed my eyes. I thought, am I seeing something? I mentioned it to a few plot holders and someone said, I've actually seen one as well on site. I don't know whether or not it's because of all the building that's going down, where I mentioned a couple of videos ago about the explosion. So if you haven't seen that video, go back and have a look at it. And they're rebuilding the plots down there. I'm going to go show you that in a second and you'll be amazed, you know, what the electrical board has actually created down there. It's fantastic. So they've dug it all out, rebuilt it all, and they're putting greenhouses, sheds, patios, everything down there for the plot holders. But I think what's happened is, because they're doing a lot of building work down there, I think it's disturbed some rabbits and they've ventured up into the plots to try and get a bit of safety. And I'm worried about all the crops in summer that they might eat. So if you've got any suggestions of protecting my crops from rabbits, which I've never had to do before, let me know in the comments. The generous gardener rose off Nanu and Grinch is really coming into bloom now. There is so many roses on this now. I mean, I'm so blessed by this. So if you haven't already, go over and give Nanu and Grinch a subscribe. They're back on YouTube after having a bit of a break. But yeah, the David Austin rose, the generous gardener. More lupins have actually come out, but the only problem about lupins that I don't like is they don't last very long, and as soon as they start finishing bloom on the top, they're already dying at the bottom. But this has put on a beautiful show this year. I've also planted out a pile of zinnias in here just to use that space at the bottom of the alliums. I mean, the bees are absolutely loving these alliums this year. Oh, there's one there already, so yeah, they're absolutely loving these alliums. And I've planted out a pile of marigolds on both sides of the bed. The beans are taking their time this year. I don't know what's happened to them. They just seem to be going a bit slow. They normally romp up here. We've had good weather, but hopefully with this rain now, that should do the trick. And I also put out a few lettuces that I had spare as well to replace the ones that just magically died off. So these are the Blauhilde. They're a favourite of mine. I normally keep these and I use them over winter because they freeze really well. They're like a French bean, but they're purple. I absolutely love them. And on this side is the climbing Belotti beans as well. Again, I'm going to keep them not for the pods, but for the beans as well that I'm going to put into stews and casseroles in autumn and winter. Now, this poppy plant was actually brought from the grapevine allotment and brought up to here, and I thought it was going to be a goner, to be honest. It was a very weedy plant and I really wanted to keep it because it was very sentimental to me. But this year it has put on quite a few buds here, so I'm hoping to have some beautiful poppies in this area near the carrots. I've also planted out a pile of sunflowers in here. These are the teddy bear and also the little dorrets. I'm hoping that the slugs will leave them alone. We've had a bit of rain and you're starting to see all these holes now, which we've got a little bit complacent about because we have had no rain for nearly 2 months. So no good rain anyway. So yeah, they've taken the advantage of the fact that we've had some rain and look, but I'm sure they'll be okay. And I've also finished this structure as well. I've got in here all the sunflowers now, got some dwarf ones as well, all the zinnias in both of the beds. And I've also put in a pile of other things as well, like some daisies and a few other mixtures. I'm hoping that they'll come through and create a lovely flower bed at the front of the plot here and here. Now I've got a few stray plants coming up, like this rocket, which I'm happy for. I mean, it's self-seeded, so why not just take advantage of that crop? And hopefully I'll harvest this before it goes to seed, because rocket is one of those things that just doesn't like the heat. And I've also created this diagonal cross system on this side and this side, hoping to strengthen all of this together. And hopefully either the beans will climb over, so I'll have an extra crop hanging down, or the climbing flowers that I've got from this side will meet them in the middle. All the beans are in now. They're taking a little bit of battering at the bottom of the leaves, and this is the thing about growing beans, is I like to have them a good foot or so high. If you're pouring them out as very small plants, if we do get slug attacks, they'll take off this growing point, which is the main one that you need. So growing them a bit taller is better, because if they nibble those bottom leaves, they're already halfway up the canes out the way anyway, so they're a bit more safer up there. And like I said, if they don't, attach to the canes, make sure that you put them back on. And the thing that you need to know about runner beans, I've talked about this actually in the past, is that they actually go a certain way. So make sure when you twist them on, they go this way, they go anti-clockwise. So if you're twisting them on yourself, make sure you don't snap this off. Make sure you go anti-clockwise. Because if you don't, the runner beans will fight back against that and be like, that's not the way we grow, and they start trying to fight and go around the other way. So if you're helping them along with maybe cable ties or little clips, make sure you put them around anti-clockwise. So we're going through the allotment now. I mean, it's so nice to see so many plot holders taking over a space and creating their own little sanctuary and their own little haven for food, and just to have a nice little sit outside sometimes, I mean, I absolutely love this framing system here for the raspberries. There's something I need to do myself, is create some kind of support for mine. And we're heading past Cheryl's as well, from Cheryl Gardens on Instagram, and this is looking absolutely fantastic. She's also put in some beds and got some hoops going as well, covering over all her crops. I mean, she's got some good cabbages as well this year. I mean, it just looks beautiful, doesn't it? It really does look lovely. So if you haven't already, go over to Cheryl's on Instagram. I'll pop it here. Go give her a little follow and give her a little comment on some of her pictures. She's got fantastic little Instagram. So yeah, go over and have a look. Let's have a look at what they've done on the explosive plot, which I've actually started calling Posh Plot 1 and Posh Plot 2, because this is beyond allotment plots. Honestly, wait till you see it. Look at this, how beautiful is this? So there's a nice pond area which is fenced off. They have absolutely filled this right to the top with beautiful compost. They put a nice lawn down there with some IBC tanks, greenhouses, sheds, a gravel area. I think this is actually owned by the electrical board, this area part here. But I mean, look at it. It's absolutely fantastic what they've done. And they also put in new paths as well. So the plot holders are going to be absolutely over the moon when they see this. Do you see what I mean about being posh plots? God, it's a shame that they've missed the growing season though. It really is a shame. But what a growing space they'll have when they can get back on there. So yeah, it's a shame that happened, but it's looking beautiful now. I'm absolutely thrilled for them, honestly. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and like this video and comment. Honestly, you don't realize how much it helps. And it pushes the video to reach new audiences. I'm almost at 9,000 now, so please click that little subscribe button. Go on. So I've still got quite a bit still in the polytunnel, and I mean, it does look like I've got a lot, but a lot of it is like extra runner beans just in case we've got failures later on. Most of this is the tomatoes and things that will go with it, like the basil and also all the marigolds, which will be interplanted underneath. But there is a bit down there as well. I still got like straw flowers, courgettes, a few other African marigolds, sunflowers. Yeah, we've still got a little bit, but not as much as I thought I had. And I still got other things on top of here, like pumpkins up there as well. So they got to find a home. Most of them are like Baby Boo and Jack Be Little, so they'll be going over like an archway. So yeah, it's taking shape now. Today I'm going to strip this out and get the tomatoes in, but that's for another day. I'm Danny, and this is Grow Up.